Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. Today's guest is Doreen Rainey. Doreen Rainey really loves to shake things up. As a transformational coach, speaker, and CEO of the Radical Success Institute, Doreen's mission is to empower people to get radical, which means to define success for yourself and get the guts to go after it. She now works with ambitious, high-achieving goal-getters driven to design a purposeful and impactful life by deepening the learning about who they are and why they are, so they can experience authentic success. Her signature Radical Success method teaches the foundation for exploring an internal transformation to experience external results. Its focus on examining mindset, beliefs, habits, and behaviors positions her clients to accelerate to their next level. She's witnessed people take the coaching concepts shared through her process and completely transform their career, business, finances, and relationships. As the former senior vice president of Steve Harvey Global, she worked directly with his personal and professional development programs, teaching thousands in their community success principles, business strategies, and career growth insights. Doreen's work has been featured in Essence Magazine, The Steve Harvey Show, ABC, NBC, Sirius XM, US Today Weekend, and more. Today, we talked about Doreen's amazing transformation. This is the new year, and I do own a gym, so I really thought it would be ideal to invite Doreen back on the podcast. She's been on before, and it was an amazing episode. She is a speaker and a motivator, and so warm and inviting. I hope you guys love her as much as I do. But today, we really talk about why it's important that when you want to transform, you make the decision first. You have to decide, change your habits, let go of perfectionism. Am I ringing any bells out there? Get over looking stupid. Let go of what other people think. There's so many things to keeping your promises to yourself, so that you have self-trust. You want to keep your promises to yourself, because if you keep breaking promises to yourself, you're not going to believe in yourself, and that's what it takes to have a radical transformation. So this is an amazing episode. I got fired up. I felt like we were in a choir. She was preaching to the choir. So you may have heard an amen or two from me. I can hardly contain myself. So enjoy this episode. May it inspire and motivate you for the new year and for your life's transformation, for everybody out there that wants to have the life of their dreams and the results that they deserve. We all deserve to feel great, look great, and have an amazing life. Without further ado, I want to welcome the one, the only, Doreen Rainey to the show. Welcome, Doreen.
Well, thank you so much. I am always super excited to talk with you.
You're always so motivational and bubbly and warm. I think that's the word I want to use. The very first time that I heard you, I was part of the success, I'm not sure what to call it, institute or something with Steve Harvey. I know it changed name a couple times, so I might have it wrong. No. But you were in there and you were leading a group and you were talking and you were introducing Tim's story. And it really struck me as that you're so warm and inviting. And I love that about you, because I think that's something we miss these days. I feel like you were so warm and inviting, like I wanted to come on in into your living room and have a cup of coffee or something.
Yes, yes, that is. I'm glad to hear that because in the work that I do, coaching and training and being with people as they move through their levels of success, I want them to feel that, right? That there is this warm environment that's going to challenge you, but also invite you in. So I'm glad that you got that feeling.
Now, is this something that comes naturally to you, or have you worked on it? Because I feel like we could all learn from that in the space of social media and being a little more public these days.
Right. I think that the more true to yourself you are, the more authentic you are, the more you'll be what your tribe or what the people who will be attracted to you that's what you'll be. And so my authenticity lies in being open and honest and truthful and challenging, but in an inviting way. I'm not a beat you over the head kind of a person. I think I can challenge people to grow and do more and be more and have more in a way that has that kind of warmness to it, but with a little bit of a bite.
Well, I think it's important to be able to have a little bit of a bite because people need the truth, and that's the only thing that really makes them change. Otherwise, they're in radical denial, right?
Yes, yes. That's a great, great phrase, radical denial. And I come across people all the time who don't realize that they're in that radical denial. They become someone who has started to accept things as normal, or accept things because they feel like they don't have a choice, or accept things because they feel like they don't have any power. And all of those things lead you to that place of denial.
I love that. And I borrowed it from you because I remember I opened an email from you, and it was all about living in radical denial. And it was your story of transformation. And this is the new year. And I own a gym, and I have tons of people coming to me for transformation. So I really want to speak to that because I want to give them a few tools today for their toolbox so that they truly can transform and not just talk about it, but actually live it like you did.
Yes, yes. It's so interesting. Transformation is one of those words that have been thrown around quite a bit in the last couple of years. It's become, excuse me, it's become popular. It's become a buzzword. And that's great because I think transformation in a lot of areas, or in some areas, everyone needs. But I want people to always be mindful of what real transformation is. And so by definition, transformation means permanent change. And I think that when people say they transform, the question is, have you created a permanent change? So for example, people who work very hard to get out of debt, and they're like, oh, I've transformed my money mindset, but 3 years later, 5 years later, they're right back in debt again. So they weren't really transformed around their mindset. And same when it comes to losing weight. There are people who, man, I've transformed my eating and my working out, and I've lost the weight. But then 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if you gain the weight back, were you transformed? And so I think what we have to be mindful of is the fact that we can discipline ourselves to a lot of results. And discipline is important, but the discipline doesn't create the transformation. The transformation is what takes place in your mind to say, I have made a decision about money and I will never go back. I've made a decision about my health and I'll never go back. I've made a decision about how I will be treated in relationships and I'll never go back. I've made a decision about how I work my business and I'll never go back. And so the discipline gets the manifestation of the goal. The mindset shift creates the transformation so that you never go back.
I love that so much. It is a decision, and a lot of people don't realize they keep doing all these things to change the exterior and working really hard at that, but it's the interior that has to change to have that permanent exterior transformation, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. A butterfly cannot go back and be a caterpillar. And so that's the pure definition of transformation. It is impossible for you to go back. And for us humans, that means that we've created in our thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, and habits a decision that will now dictate moving forward what we will and will not do. That's when transformation takes place.
Right, right. And I think like you have to change, you have to make the decision first. It's always absolutely always from what I see, it is when people come to me that I've got to help them on their journey and they've made major transformations. It's always because they decided. I know that sounds so simple, but it's because they decided first.
Yes.
And then they have to work on changing their habits. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, yes, changing your habits. And let me tell you, changing your habits are not easy. If it was easy, you wouldn't have many habits to change because you would have just changed. And so when it comes to changing your habits, the first thing I think you want to do is accept the fact that it won't be easy. It will be
Right.
uncomfortable. I mean,
it's going to be uncomfortable.
Going to be uncomfortable. I remember years ago, someone was saying that their son had changed their eating habits and had started to lose weight. And she asked her son, she was like, man, how can you do that? Aren't you hungry? And he was like, yeah, yes, I'm hungry. And so the fact that we think that we can change something and not feel it in some form or fashion is setting ourselves up for failure. So the first thing in changing your habits is to know that it's going to require some discomfort, it's going to require some sacrifice, and it's going to require, after that, the discipline to get it done. And
yeah.
setting yourself up for that success. And so when you identify a habit that you want to change, the first thing is, what does success look like? Why are you changing this habit? What is it that you want to accomplish by having this habit become your new reality? Because if you don't attach the why to it, then you're subject to kind of go back and forth and start over, and maybe I will, and maybe I won't, and oh, this is so hard, and I'll try again, and maybe next year. So the question is, one, I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Why do you want it?
Why do I want it? And then three, what is your plan for dealing with the temptation to go back to the old habit? What is it? If you're trying to change your money habits and you really want to stop spending unnecessary money, you want to reduce your debt, and you know that happy hours or dinners out or birthday parties or anniversaries, that's not in the budget. And so before you get asked out to happy hour, before you get the invite to the girls' trip, right? Before you get the invite to the anniversary or birthday party, how are you going to answer that? What is going to be your response? Prepare for that now.
Strategy.
Strategy, yes. Yes, prepare now. I can't go to happy hour. I'm not going to be able to make that trip. I can come to the party, but you're not going to get a gift, right? I mean, what is it that you're going to do? Because it's going to come up. It's going to come up. If you have family that, children, and you say, I'm going to write, I'm going to work on my book, I'm going to create a habit of writing, I'm going to create a habit of meditating, I'm going to create a habit of time for self-care. What are you going to do? How are you going to prepare for people who try to hone in on that time? If it's children, if it's a spouse, if it's what are you going to do? And I think most people, they don't prepare, and then it comes up and they crumble, they give in. And so that's the third thing about giving habits. And then the fourth thing is, it's a daily decision.
Right. Or you go backwards. It's a life change. It's not just, let me rush and get in those jeans so I can look good on the trip,
Yes, it's a daily decision. It's a daily decision to buy it or not buy it. It's a daily decision to eat it or not eat it. It's a daily decision to cuss somebody out or not cuss somebody out, right? It's all a daily decision. Yes.
To respond instead of react.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I love that so much. I really want to speak to where we were talking about it's not going to be easy. I really want to speak to that in depth. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It may really suck. I mean, if I feel like, I don't know, I gained 50 pounds and I'm doing a class, I'm it's going to be hard at first for me, especially if maybe I haven't worked out, or I used to be thin and now I'm 50 pounds overweight and I'm expecting to be the old me, but now I'm the new me. I'm just saying, like, you've got to really realize you're going to have to get uncomfortable and you're going to have to embrace the suck. You have to embrace the suck, because if you want what's on the other side of that, that's where how you get there.
Yes, yes. You have to embrace the stuff, and you also have to give yourself grace and not worry about what you think other people are thinking
That's right.
about your journey, right?
Exactly.
So we have to manage all of that when we are making our transformation, and being willing to be uncomfortable. Working out when you're overweight isn't always comfortable. Can't maybe do all the moves. You can't make. I remember the very first time I did hot yoga, and I mean, I think we were 2 minutes in, I just sat down, right? I mean, because we have to be okay with the process. We have to be okay with the process. And in this world of instant result, instant gratification, and in the world of social media where people try to portray that their journey was really short, when I believe that there are no shortcuts, and then we buy into, well, why is it taking me so long? Why is it taking me so long to lose
Why
weight?
is it so hard for me and it's so
Right.
easy for everyone else?
Right, right. Why is it so hard for me to get more clients? Why is it so hard for me to make more money? Why is it so hard for me to finish school? And the truth is, everybody has something. Everybody has something. And we sometimes forget. We think that some people have it easier, and they may have something that we don't have that makes it easier in that way. But everybody has something that is a challenge for them, that isn't easy, that they have to overcome. And we have to be willing to work and allow the time to get through the process.
And I would speak to that. I really had to relate to what we're talking about right now when I was running a million miles an hour, doing Spartan races, competing and running my gym and just doing all the things. And I got some really life-altering injuries. I had to have my hamstring reattached.
Oh, wow.
And that I wasn't allowed to move for months. So it really moves the needle back because you're waiting for your muscle to adhere to the bone. So it's different. You have to just let that happen, and you can't rush it. And so getting back up in front of everybody that's used to me one way, and here I am this way, was very humbling, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I really had to go through a process that I believe everybody goes through when they're embracing the suck. I had to accept myself right where I am right now. And I had to stop trying to get back to where I was or thinking about what I was. I had to just accept where I am right now to be able to start moving the needle forward and giving myself grace. I had to give myself tons of grace, and still I'm giving myself grace.
Yes, yes. Accepting where you are right now is critical, because if you don't, then you'll try to move forward while either beating yourself up for past mistakes. You'll try to move forward, but always going, man, I woulda, shoulda, coulda, as opposed to, okay, look, this is what it is. This is what it is. Good decisions, bad decisions, should have known better, didn't know better, heard she did this to me, he did that to me, whatever. This is what it is. This is the financial situation, this is the business situation, this is the weight situation. And the good news is, regardless of how you got here, regardless of mistakes or bad choices or whatever, regardless of how you got here, if you just accept it and then know that you have the power to change your situation, you have the power to make that shift today. You have the power to do something that gets you into that new habit forming behavior so that your finances do change, your business does turn, the weight does come off. And we have to be, you know, we're so good at not just beating ourselves up, but as a society, we love to beat people up. You know, the internet has just unleashed the worst of people, even while it's unleashed the best of people. And so we have to be mindful not to fall prey into that trap of beating ourselves up. Listen, this is where we are, and this is what it is. Now what? And then move forward.
And I really want to speak to that, because that is the key, is to build yourself up, not beat yourself up. And I can say that I'm generally very positive, but I found, I'm going to make a confession here. I really, like, this is something I've really owned lately. I realized that I was so critical of my own self. Like, we're our own worst critic. So when I wasn't looking like the buff fitness competitor and I was feeling pretty puffy around the middle and everywhere else, I realized I did not go to the grocery store. I bet you it was 12 months. I did not go to the grocery store. Why? I did not want to run into anybody when I wasn't feeling strong, when I wasn't feeling 100%. I didn't want anyone to see me that way. I was being so critical of myself, right? And I just really started owning where I was and realizing it really hit me the other day when it was raining outside. And I said to myself, oh, it's raining, I can't go run. And then it just hit me. Like, I was like, that, I would have never said that before. I always ran in the rain. And I'm like, it's warm outside. Okay. So I got up, laced my tennis shoes. I may not have ran as fast as I used to, but I got up, I challenged myself because I thought I was ready to start moving forward and stop staying stuck. So I went out, I ran in the rain. I knew when to call it quits. I think I just got so afraid when I got knocked down and got another injury and another injury besides the hamstring. I think I got afraid to get back up. And I realized I'm going to get back up. But the thing that I haven't been doing is giving myself grace. I haven't given myself enough rest. I've been so hypercritical and my expectations were off the charts for myself. Yeah. And I think, where are we beating ourselves up where we could be giving ourselves grace? And that's what kept me stuck. Was I literally was looking back instead of looking forward and just saying, okay, now what?
Right. And that looking back will cause you to be stuck every single time. And, you know, in your example, it's that idea of, man, I've been knocked down, right? Injury after injury after injury. And for other people, maybe it's, man, I've been trying to get this business off the ground over and over and over again. You know, and for someone else, it's like, man, I've been wanting a promotion. I've been doing what they've been telling me to do over and over and over again. And to be able to, in the midst of all of the setbacks, all of the punches, to get up again,
Yes,
what did you learn?
Yes.
What did you need to adjust? What can you do better? But the thing is, you have to get back up and try again. Adjust, course correct, take the lessons learned, get more training, get more information, get a coach, whatever those answers are. But by gosh, you have to get back up. And so for anybody listening to this, you know, this is we're right into the new year, and one or two things typically happen. Either people are pumped up and they're like, yeah, best year ever, I'm gonna make it happen, right? Or there are some people who are actually like, man, I tried last year. I tried the year before that. I don't know if I have it in me to try again. Like, let me just be status quo. The bills are paid, you know, I got a job, I want to encourage that person to get back up with some enthusiasm. Pull back out the goal poster, pull back out the vision board, get out the journal again. It's in you to get back up and thrive in the coming months and in the coming year.
And listen to my episode at the beginning of the year, because it was so good for what we're talking about right now. I talk a lot about setting, deciding what your big dreams are you can't live without, and then setting goals and action steps, not so much the resolution thing, so that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve, because it's all about keeping that promise to yourself that you make. If you're making promises to yourself and you're breaking them right and left, no wonder you don't have any self-trust, right?
Yeah, that self-trust is crucial. And I guarantee you that most people who are breaking the integrity with themselves, who are breaking that trust with themselves, most people don't do that for other people. They will bend over backwards. They'll be inconvenienced to keep their word to someone else. They'll do something that is not in their best interest to maintain integrity with someone else. But the question is, why aren't we
maintain integrity with yourself
for ourselves? Be in integrity with yourself. And, part of that could be, it's a new year. We've got big, massive, radical goals, but break that down to the first step. Instead of trying to leap the mountain, let's make sure that we're climbing the mountain so that we can have some small wins. Wins beget wins beget wins. And so what's a small win that you can create for yourself today? Maybe it's something as simply as responding to an email. Maybe it's something as simple as going for a walk. Maybe it's something as simple as inviting someone out for coffee to network. What is the small win? And those wins, they feel good. And so then you go for the next win, and that feels good. And I'm telling you, accumulation of small wins creates massive results for people.
And I love that so much, the small wins, and how important that is to the overall picture with anything you're trying to achieve, whether it's fitness, public speaking in my regard, where I was just, it was like a phobia, like a fate worse than death. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. God is calling me to speak publicly. No. Right. Yeah. And what really helped me was speaking to Tim Story in his Dreams Make a Reality course, where I asked him, how do you get started speaking? And he just said, start speaking to the people right in front of you. That's huge, right? Because I was seeing myself every time on a stage with thousands of people. And how overwhelming for somebody that has a phobia to see themselves on a stage with thousands of people listening, right? Yeah. So I just really broke it down to the essence of what it really is. Mm-hmm. So easy. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I already do that. I can do that.
Yes. And that's the answer for your question was, how do you start speaking? Someone says, well, how do you write a book? Well, you sit down and guess what? You start typing, right? That's what the start is. And so many people get confused because they see the end and they forget the start. And so I always want to challenge people to, what's the start? Speak in front of the people in front of you. Go work out once. Go for a walk once, like today. What's the start? And if you can commit to a daily start, you'd be surprised what you accumulate over weeks and months and years of daily starts.
Oh my gosh, so much, because still speaking to that, I can think about just starting my podcast, just deciding to do a solo round for the first time, and then going, I can look back at all those firsts and see the magic in the start. Yeah. And also, don't get stuck in perfection. How important is that?
Oh my gosh. Man, perfection will paralyze you. it will paralyze you. Because first of all, you're striving for something that isn't available to you.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. You're spending time, energy, resources, money on something that is not available to you. That's the first thing about perfection. The second thing about perfection is that you are holding up results because of the weight. I was talking to someone earlier today, and we talked about a lot of these softwares. So if you're in business, if you have a job, I'm sure you use some form of software.
Right.
The majority of these companies, they put out stuff at first that don't always work the way it's supposed to work. They don't have all the bells and whistles. They're just getting it out to market, and then they build it as they go, and they give good customer service, and they keep. So getting started with what you have instead of waiting for perfection can produce results for you right now. Doesn't mean you go out there janky. Doesn't mean that, you don't give it your best.
Right.
But what it means is that what is enough? What is enough to start, to go, to put it out there? And if you are stuck in perfection, and you know this, right? You know it's something you can't strive for. You know it's good enough, really, but you still stuck. Sometimes we use it as an excuse. You're not a perfectionist. You're just in fear. You're not a perfectionist.
So true.
You're just
So true.
Yes.
Because it's actually, like she said, it's an excuse, and it is what keeps you stuck. It's an excuse for not actually doing the actual steps it takes to get there, because you have to be perfect first.
Yes. And we use that as an excuse, and we have to ask ourselves, what am I really afraid of? I'm using perfectionist as a reason why I haven't, but what I'm really afraid of is, what if no one buys? What if I'm judged? What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if I
yes. What if I look stupid is huge.
Right. What if I fall? What if I can't do all the exercises? Right? What if I don't get the loan? What if, all the what ifs that we play out, we really need to examine, is it a perfection syndrome or is it a fear syndrome? Most times it's fear.
All right, let's speak to the what if I look stupid, because it was a discussion this morning at the gym. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting on my soapbox now. But I just want to speak to that. So what's going to happen if you come to a yoga class and what's going to happen if you look stupid?
Yeah.
Then what? What's going to happen? Is something going to happen to you because you looked stupid? No, right? Nothing's going to happen to you because you look stupid. I mean, people judge us anyway. I mean, is that what maybe you're afraid of, judgment of other people? Yeah. They judge us anyway. So they're already either judging you for the better, judging you for the worse. You can't control that. The only thing you can control is you. And are you going to let those people hold you back from getting what they may or may not think hold you back from getting results?
Right. And the thing about looking stupid is, I like to remind people that contrary to your belief, you are not top of mind for other people. Other people are top of mind for themselves. And so even when we think
they're not even
we can look stupid, it's like people aren't even paying attention. If they are paying attention, they really probably give you max 3 seconds, and then they're off to something else. And so a lot of it is in our heads that people are looking at us, they're thinking about us, they're judging us, they're paying attention to us. And most times people are so wrapped up in their own life. Right. People are so wrapped up in their own fear of looking stupid. People are so wrapped up in that they're not paying attention to you as much as you think they are. And if they are, it only lasts for a moment, for seconds maybe.
And the other regard is, do you really care what a person like that thinks? I mean, just think about it for a little bit. Yeah. And are you that critical of yourself? Because perhaps that's where it really lies.
Yes. And it goes back to what we said earlier of giving yourself some grace. You know, the first time out when you do something, the second time when you do something, putting yourself out there, taking risks, taking a chance, growing, coming out of your comfort zone, you're not going to have it all down perfect. One, it's not possible. Two, it's your first time out. It's your second time out. Your
Exactly.
third
Yeah.
time out. So give yourself that grace and have fun with it. You know, there's a really old episode of Friends when they were taking a tap dance class, and Monica was horrible at it. And they're all doing the routine, and she's way off and off beat and off count. And someone says, "You're not doing it right." And she says, "But I'm doing it." And so
Oh, there you go.
that's the attitude we have to have. That yoga position may not be right, but you're doing yoga. Okay, let's just, maybe that sales page, that client thing, it wasn't quite right, but you're doing it. You're out there. Success comes in the process. Success comes in the doing. Getting better comes in the doing. And so unless you're willing to start doing, you're never going to grow. You're never going to get better. You're never going to advance in those areas that you know you need to do that in.
And I can really relate that to when I started competing at the age of 40. And I'm 57 now. I've had a pretty amazing long career. At the beginning, I was somewhat hard on myself. I wasn't a gymnast. I wasn't a dancer. I had just decided I wanted to do this thing called fitness competitions. And people would be doing handstands and acrobatics and flips and triple flips. And so when I would compete, sometimes I would be extra hard on myself. Surprise, surprise. And one of the competitors, I remember one time I was saying something, I was probably beating myself up, and she said, "We're just here to do it." And I really got that. I really got that. It's a lot, it's echoing what you said, the joy of doing it, and also being grateful for the fact that I can do that, and looking at what I can do instead of not what I can't. I really started embracing the fact, I was just like, you know what, I just started, because I could compare that to a fitness person just starting. Maybe I've got to give myself some time to learn how to do all of this and on a stage in front of people. And so, long story short, now I can look back over my career and I am so proud of what I've accomplished from just getting out there, getting started, and doing it over and over until it became a thing. And
Yeah.
so, that's where it's at. You've just got to really get into the whole joy of just doing it.
Yes. And I love what you said, that you can look back over your career. And I think sometimes in our quest to always improve, hit a new goal, reach a new target, staying in fear, we forget all that we've already accomplished. And so to be able to look back and say, man, look at what I've done when it comes to this path, this fitness path, or this business path, or this money path, or this relationship path. Yeah, we all have hiccups, right? We all have little potholes back in the past. But if we stop looking at the potholes and stop looking at the challenges and start looking at what worked, what went well, man, I did that year. I did that back then. I know I can do it. I know I got this, what I'm working for now, because look at what I've been able to do in the past. I have this thing I tell people, just go ahead and look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm dope and I got this, right? Because you've done some dope things before. And reminding ourselves of that is a powerful way to inspire you to keep moving forward.
I love that so much. I love that so much. I want to speak to your transformation. You've had such a significant transformation since when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
What was the catalyst that caused you to make such a significant change?
A couple of things. So one, I believe that when you have big impact that you want to create in this world, you should be physically and mentally and spiritually fit to carry out that mission, to carry out that impact. And If you're not, then you're subjecting yourself to being less than who you were created to be. And so from a physical perspective, we can all tell when we're gaining weight. We can all tell that things fit a little tighter. We can all tell ourselves, I'm not going to buy new clothes, or I'm not going to go a size higher. And then we do that. And then we kind of just settle into, it's not that bad. I know I need to do something, but it'll be okay. And I remember maybe 2 years ago, I was at an event. I was on stage on something. And we have photographers and pictures all the time, but there was something about this one picture that just kind of struck me. And I was like, is that me? Like I knew I had gained weight, but it was something about this picture that really just said, my gosh, like, wow, that can't be me. And so I just began to decide that I need to do something about this. And when it comes to weight or being healthy or eating healthy or whatever people call it, I never answer the question when people say, how did you do it? And I don't answer that question because we already know the answer. It amazes me how many times people will ask about, how did you lose weight? How did you get out of debt? How did you build your business? How did you get clients? When we already know. We already know. Like, what, you eat less, you eat more real food, and you move your body. So to ask me, how did I do it? You already know. But the question is, there are so many different ways that you can carry out that how, right? And so if you know that you need to eat real food and lose weight, and move your body, now you have a choice of how you want to do that. And so one of the things that I remember from years ago, People Magazine does this annual edition of how I lost half my weight. And if you look at all the people they profile, what I love about it is one person will say, I didn't have no money, but I had tennis shoes and a sidewalk. Right? Somebody else said, hey, I knew I needed a level of accountability that I couldn't give myself. And so I hired a personal trainer.
There you go.
Right? Someone else said, listen, I've been in this battle for decades, and it's never an easy decision, but I know I need to do what's right for me. I had surgery. And then someone else will say, listen, I know that if I am not in a community, if I don't have a group around me, so I join Weight Watchers, right? I think that sometimes we get so caught up, what'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do? The truth is, you need to eat real food, eat less of it, and move your body. Now, how you make that happen, and we have to stop shaming people for whatever route.
Whatever their choice is.
Whatever, because none of it is taken lightly. When people are 50, 60, 100, 150 pounds overweight, they don't need anyone to tell them, yeah, you really should do something about that, right? They already know, and they've already tried. And so when they finally find the thing that works, why would you ever criticize how they got there? And so I always encourage people, you know what to do. Now decide the support system, the accountability structure, the habits that you will form around what you already know so that you can get the results that you're looking for. And it is a challenge for people because they're looking for the magic pill. They're still looking for the magic pill. And it takes consistency. Consistency is the key to everything. So no matter the choice that you make, if you're not consistent, you'll still not get where you want to be. And so making that choice and being consistent is how you create transformation.
Small changes over time.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. And really, a lot of the time we think it's some big thing that we had to do, but it's really the consistency, like you said, and the small wins, the small changes that you're I don't know if it's you decided you were taking a walk every day, or you're going to the gym, or you're going to Zumba, or you're hiring a trainer, or
Mhm.
you're not having beer on the weekend.
Right. And for me, one of the things that I knew about myself was that I'm not really a gym person. I mean, I've had gym memberships, I've had trainers, and there's just something about the gym, it just doesn't attract me. And so for me, one of the things I did was I'm a walker. And I started out and I would walk a mile and a half, and then I'd walk 2 miles. And up until the point where on now I average 6 or 7 miles a day, some days hitting 12 or 15. And it takes time to walk. Let's just be clear, right? I'm great.
Yeah, you're going to walk 12 to 15
Right,
miles. You're walking a
right,
while.
right. You're not going out for a quick 45-minute, right? And people will tell me, well, you can do a 60-minute boot camp, or you can do a 40. And yeah, I can, but I know me. And every time I went, okay, I'm going to do a boot camp. I never went. I show up sometimes. For me, the consistency came in walking. And so people have to find what it is that they will do. And then if they want to try new things, if they want
That's
to.
with eating and working out.
Right. What is it that, don't strap yourself to the deprivation. I got to go to the boot camp. No, you don't.
Yes, they do. They do have to go to boot camp.
If the boot camp is for them.
I'm playing.
Yes. And that's why, and you have to try things to find what it is. It took me years to figure all this stuff out. And so I encourage people to find what works for them, and find real professional help. That's why what you do is so important, because people are out here trying to figure it out on their own. I didn't figure it out on my own. I talked to a nutritionist, I talked to a doctor, I read all kinds of books and all kinds of documentaries. When it came to food, I decided I was gonna, cut my portions. I was eating way too much. No matter what you're eating, if you're eating way too much, I wanted to cut my portions. But you gotta talk to people. And so sitting down and having a conversation with you and getting that understanding of, this is what you need to do, these are the steps you need to take. I can support you. I can help you with that. Come to the boot camps. Like, just all of that will make a difference for people being able to get where they want to be.
I totally agree. And I think as far as all the different things, it's just finding the thing that you're going to stick with. And maybe you didn't like boot camp. Maybe you didn't go to the right boot camp, or you weren't ready for it. Maybe at some point you are ready for it. It's just really that personal choice. But again, like Doreen said, don't let somebody's judgment of what you chose steer you away from that. Because if it's something you can do, and you're going to keep doing it because you enjoy it, it will move the needle forward. It's never like she said, it's never like, oh, I went and I did all these marathons and that's why I lost weight. It's usually, I just added a gallon of water every day and I cut out my diet soda, or I started walking every day. It's all these things that really, like cutting your portion sizes. That's what really makes the significant changes. It's over time though, and we're all wanting it in a hurry, in a rush.
Yeah, we're all in a hurry, all in a rush. And again, these are things that you have to balance with excuses and fear, right? So if you're afraid of being judged, if you don't want to look stupid, that's why you're not going to the boot camp. But that's not why you shouldn't go to. Like, you see what I'm saying? You have to show up. And so in all of this information and strategies and things that we're sharing, measured against, am I in fear or am I making a powerful decision? And that will help guide you into what you need to do next. And being authentic and consistent makes the biggest difference of all.
Oh yeah, 100%. And so you have over time shed how much weight, pounds, mindset, limited beliefs? What did you shed?
I shed about 65 pounds, and through all of that, it's a daily decision. It's a daily decision to make the right choices, to move your body. For someone like me who is constantly working and traveling, to make sure that I am committed to still walking if that's my thing, or you know, when I try to go to the gym or the treadmill, and also just managing my food. It's a daily decision. And if we're willing to change our mindset, connect to our why, I knew that what I wanted to do in this world, how am I going to run through the airport for a flight if I'm carrying extra weight? How can I keep up the stamina of going city to city, stage to stage, if I'm winded, or if I get tired, or if I need to sleep, or if my feet swell? You know, all of those things that matter for what I'm here to do, for what I'm here to be, for other people. And for someone else, it could be, how are you going to run around with the grandchildren? How are you going to play football with your son, with your grandson, with your daughter, with your granddaughter? Like, how are you going to do those things if you have this extra weight? How are you going to manage medication? How are you going to manage those things if you don't do anything to get off of them? And so we have all of these reasons that we need to tap into, and then ultimately just value this gift of our body as much as we can. We live in a world, between the environment, between pollution, between gas. I mean, just, our bodies are already fighting elements that can cause us to be sick. And so if we're gonna then add to that by what we eat or what we drink, like, we need to value our gift of our body more than that. Let it fight all the other stuff. Don't have to fight you too.
And the last thing I really want you to speak to is, how important is it for people to change their environment so they can succeed?
It is so critical to change your environment, both from the people, both from an environment, and both from your mindset. We all live in a place in each of those areas. And if that place doesn't inspire, encourage, motivate, cheer you on, then you need to change, shift, and adjust that environment. You know, when it comes to people, I always say, you know, now we live in a world of cancel. Oh, they're canceled. Oh, we're going to cancel her. And I think you have to be mindful of what role people play in your lives. Now, you may have some friends, not drama driven, not negative, but maybe they're not a go-getter, but they're your friend. They can be your friend. You don't have to cancel them because they're not.
I know. I always, when I would hear that, I would be like,
right.
It just doesn't seem to go with my biblical upbringing.
Right. And then I also have another group of friends, and we are go-getters. And it's like, yeah, we're going to make it happen. So you need to make sure your environment is one that feeds your soul, that encourages you, that cheers you on, that is listening and nurturing. And your environment, your literal physical environment, you know, you need to be clutter-free. You need to be in a space where you can be creative, where you have the space to really grow. That creativeness happens in clarity, and clarity happens in decluttered, you know, and in your mindset. What's cluttering your mind? What are you reading? What are you watching? What environment are you putting your mind and your brain and your soul in? And so in those three areas, you want to kind of do a checklist, a gut check about where are you putting yourself when it comes to the environment that you're in.
I love that. Surround yourself with the things that are going to inspire, lift you up, and just move you forward. I have really enjoyed this whole talk today so much. And if you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have to say I was ready to go straight up today, because this is one of my favorite topics. Make sure to check Doreen out on where can we get you on social media?
I am at Doreen Rainey on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. And you can also check out my upcoming Get Radical Women's Conference. It's happening March 20th through 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia. We have got an incredible 2.5-day experience for people who are really ready to step up, to step out and create radical success in every area of their lives. All the details are at getradicalconference.com. We've got great speakers, Nicole Ari Parker, Kelly Edwards, Mona Sharma, who's been working with Will and Jada on their health, their holistic journey to eat better and get their numbers right. And she's going to be there talking about health and wellness. And so check out getradicalconference.com. I would love to see you there.
Oh, that is exciting. Where is this held at?
It's in Atlanta.
Georgia.
In Atlanta, Georgia. We have women registered from all across the country. And so don't say, oh, darn, I wish I was in Atlanta. No, 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 no. We have people coming from California and Texas and Chicago and New York and Connecticut. And so this is an opportunity for you to connect with some success-minded women who are on a journey to do more, to be more, to have more, to give more. And what better way to ignite something inside of you than by getting around other people who are on that same path. And we're all committed to creating that radical life.
I love that. What type of transformations do you see from your conference?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. And so our goal is first to understand that you have to have an internal transformation for external results. And so to watch people take responsibility for where they are, to have a little self-reflection, to understand what their chatter has been, their fears have been to hold them back, and then watch them have a breakthrough to the other side, how they move from being fear-based to being overcome or mitigating that fear and actually taking action even while they're in there. And so to watch people, we track people through follow-up, people who have started businesses, people who have gone on to get promotions at their jobs, people who have made friends. We have people who come to the conference that have been coming for years, and they've been friends that they met at the conference. And so this idea that that this is just a rah-rah, oh, it's another conference, not even close. Not even close.
Do you do live coaching?
We have opportunities for live coaching inside of our sessions. Our keynotes and our workshops always have time for Q&A. We do some, if you're on the business side, we do business makeovers. If you are focused on your career, we have career workshops for people who have managed to reach that corner office in corporate America. And so one of the things I believe is very valuable when you go to events like this is, yes, you want the information, but then you want to be able to understand, and how do I apply that to my situation, to my life? And being able to ask questions of the speakers, ask questions of the experts, get you those specific answers. And then every day we set aside time where I do live coaching, live Q&A, and people get the opportunity to really get the breakthrough they need to be able to go home and make significant progress in the areas that are most important to them.
I love it. I love it so much. We're going to leave a link in the show notes for everybody so you can get your tickets to the Radical Success Conference. Yeah. And I just really want to acknowledge you so much for being so motivating and passionate and inspiring. You definitely, I think, will have inspired quite a few women today to take action.
Well, thank you so much. As always, I enjoy talking with you, sharing with your community. So I appreciate you having me back on.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat. Bye, everybody.